So we are going to look at the achievements of Gamal Abdel Nasser. Mind you, he was the ringleader of the Egyptian Revolution of 1952, which was against King Farouk. So we need really to understand what's all about the legacy of Gamal Abdel Nasser. In other words, he rose up with a great mission of liberating a country called Egypt. So we are saying, Colonel Gamal Abdel Nasser rose to power in Egypt shortly after the successful military coup against the Egyptian monarchy of King Pharaoh. General Muhammad Negib took over leadership in 1952 with real power in the hands of Nasser. But by the end of 1954, an internal struggle in the army worsened, which Nasser exploited to oust Negib to become president. So we believe by this time, later, Nasser became the real president of Egypt. So we need to look at his achievements. Number one, Nasser organized and executed the 1952 coup that brought the weak Egyptian monarchy to an end. We believe by this time, Nasser achieved because he organized the coup d'etat that brought the weak leadership of King Farouk to an end. Mind you, King Farouk was a monarchist. So Gamal Abdel Nasser staged a coup d'etat which led to the end of Farouk's regime. Another one, Nasser completed the Aswan High Dam. We believe by this time that Aswan High Dam was very instrumental if Egypt was to develop. So Nasser completed the Aswan High Dam. When Nasser completed the Aswan High Dam, this raised the country called Egypt, because they used the dam in so many issues. Another one, he initiated a land reform program, i.e., land redistribution, which benefited Egyptian peasants. We believe by this time, Nasser initiated a land reform program. What was the land reform program? I can say Nasser did what we call land redistribution. Those that did not have land were given land. Changes rising up as a result of the legacy of a man called Gamal Abdel Nasser. Even those who didn't have land were given land. Mind you, before the rise of Nasser, King Farouk and his friends had big pieces of land. But for the first time, even the peasants were given land. Then he reduced corruption in Egypt. We believe by this time, Nasser reduced on corruption in Egypt. I can say corruption was there, but he reduced on it. Mind you, among the key issues that led to the Egyptian revolution was corruption under King Pharaoh. So Nasser reduced on corruption, which raised the standards of the people of Egypt, since the resources were not misused. Another one, he tried to bring moderate democracy in Egypt. For example, he allowed political parties to operate. We believe by this time, Nasser tried to bring moderate democracy in Egypt. In this kind of arrangement, moderate democracy was promoted in Egypt because the man allowed political parties to operate. Another one, Nasser removed the social inequalities in Egypt. Social inequalities meant some people at the time of King Pharaoh were taken to be at a very high level and others at a very low level. But Nasser removed the social inequalities. Another one, he embarked on industrialization of Egypt. For example, he set up manufacturing, processing, and assembling industries. Of course, this provided jobs to the people. When people got jobs, this raised on their standard of living. And this, of course, led to the development of a country called Egypt. So we are raising a man called Nasser. Then he uplifted the status of women in Egypt. For example, he appointed the first woman minister in 1962. So we believe by this time, He uplifted the status of women. You remember the time of King Farouk, women were not raised in their status. But of course, when Nasser came to power, he uplifted the status of women, which made him a darling for so many people in Egypt. Then it diversified the economy of Egypt by investing in various sectors such as agriculture, tourism, infrastructure. Diversification. For the economy to survive, diversification is very important. So we are seeing this man leading to the development of agriculture, infrastructure, tourism, among others. So it is this that raised a country called Egypt. Then nationalized all the major means of production. For example, Suez Canal Company controlling was taken over. In this kind of arrangement, we believe that Egypt started controlling the Suez Canal. Changes rising up as a result of Gamal Abdel Nasser. Mind you, he was a communist. He created a strong standing army capable of dealing with any unrest or aggression. So I believe by this time, the man created a strong standing army. A strong standing army meant in this kind of arrangement, the army was meant to kill and imprison all of those rising up against the regime. And this led to relative peace. Then Nasser created the National Assembly or Parliament to provide the checks and balances. We are like saying today, Nasser created the National Assembly. What was the importance of the National Assembly? It was meant to provide checks and balances. In other words, the leaders were to be accountable. Then Nasser improved the health sector. For example, by 1960, there were about 10,000 doctors, up from 5,000 in 1952. Better hospitals were built. So changes rising up, whereby at this time, people had to get what we call great medical services. Then Nasser improved the workers' conditions by allowing trade unions. By this time, we are seeing the man allowing trade unions to operate. This meant that the workers had a voice. In other words, they had to agitate for better pay and many other benefits. So we are raising and honoring Gamal Abdel Nasser. Then he supported the formation of cooperative societies through which loans, fertilizers were given to the farmers. And by this time, when fertilizers were given to the farmers, this raised the country called Egypt. Then, of course, Nasser improved education, where more schools were built. By this time, we are realizing that free education was like put up to provide for the children between 5 to 12 years. And the new university was opened. And of course, the University of Azhar transformed. Changes rising up as a result of Nasser. Then, of course, it checked neo-colonial influence in Egypt. We are like saying today, neo-colonial influence was checked in Egypt. In this kind of arrangement, Nasser like promoted total independence of Egypt. It didn't allow the colonialists to have influence as it was at the time of King Farouk. Then he modernized agriculture, which improved output, income, and welfare of the farmers. We are seeing a man modernizing agriculture by, of course, encouraging modern farming, plantation farming, and this raised the standards of people, and Egypt had to move on. Then, of course, we are like saying Nasser improved the infrastructure in Egypt. For example, railways, roads. So we are like saying today, the man improved the infrastructure. This raised the standard of traders and farmers because they had to use good roads to move from one area to another. And of course, Nasser promoted Pan-Africanism. In this kind of arrangement, because of his great promotion of Pan-Africanism, he was among the key players in the formation of OAU in May 1963. So friends, we are honoring the legacy of a man called Gamal Abdel Nasser. So you need to understand that Nasser tried to achieve. I can say they had some issues here and there, but the man tried to achieve.